Alright, definitely time to teach you how to chart the vocals now. Anyways, now that we've gone through drums, bass, and guitar, basically, vocals is absolutely next, basically. Now, here's the thing, though. The vocals is really tricky to chart, and basically the reason basically is because if you look in this MIDI editor on the part vocals track, there's so many pitches that you have to go through. So that would basically mean is that like the B is the B, this B5 is basically like the highest note basically though. I mean, even if you like look at it on the other 10 template basically though, then it's gonna mostly just be like it's gonna like really like mostly just be like the same thing, like, kind of basically, except that it's kind of a different pitch though. So let's just skip that, and then if we go in if we basically go into the part vocals track, just give me a minute. This time C5 is basically like the highest. This time C5 on the C3 RB3 template is basically like the highest, basically, according to what it says there. I mean, it's basically up to you if you want to basically rename those rows to have numbers basically to like match the other ones, and I would basically prefer it. Sorry if I yawn. But anyways, I would preferring adding in all the extra numbers basically right next to the note rows. Like, I'll show you what I mean. So double right click the so basically double right click the note the row name, and then just put a 4 in there, and then you just keep doing the same thing for all the others, but make sure that you really do not replace them all by accident, because then you might not really get it right. See, like, that's what I mean. So if you end up doing that, you can always just undo with control you can always undo with control Z, or you can basically just hang on. Oh my god, okay. Oh, gosh, hang on. So yeah, so if you want to redo, control shift Z. That's basically like the one to do. So you basically just keep going through and renaming these until you basically get to like C4, and then once you get down to the lower row, you then want to match the lower numbers as well. So if you can see here on the top, that's basically how you could basically tell. So if you just look at this bar while I'm moving the cursor over the MIDI rows of vocals, see how it's changing basically whenever I'm scrolling through them. So that's basically this one right here is basically so yeah, this one's basically B3. So it means if you go down basically to like right here, then you could basically see here is that basically the 3 is basically there, and then if you go down further, there's like the 2 basically though. Even though it says like C1 basically though, but I mostly have heard that I mostly saw that basically on like a lot of the tuners, like a lot of the chromatic tuners, which is by the way a tool that you use that can basically read pitch notes basically though on either the sound or the vocal phrase, or even on a vocal note whatsoever. So like I said, so basically C1 is basically labeled by default, but it's mostly recommended to set the lowest ranges to be at 2, and the reason is because chromatic tuners cannot basically read the ones that cannot really read pitches that are labeled 1, because it's not possible. It would say C, instead it would just say 2 and not 1 completely though. So it's just like mostly the point though. There's also lyric shift and range shift, but I wouldn't really, but I kind of wouldn't really do that. I wouldn't really recommend doing that, to be honest with you. Basically, basically unless if you just want to do like harmonies or something. And you can basically see here the way that vocals score phrases basically on vocal phrases is they are phrase markers. So that means whenever there is a vocal note that is inside of a phrase marker, then that basically means whenever it goes through it, it'll score points basically once you basically hit that vocal note. And then in the points basically score differently, basically depending on like which difficulty you play on vocals. So it means if you play on easy, then the highest points that you can get with the ×4 multiplier is 800. Medium is 1600. Hard is 3200. Or actually, is it 2400? Oh wait, I actually got it wrong. I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure that basically like the maximum amount is probably like 1600 basically when you're using overdrive. The highest that you could basically use is 4,800, I'm pretty sure, and 64. And I would pretty much know 6400 is basically like the highest like amount of points you could score from one phrase on with the ×4 multiplier. And then if you're playing on expert, then the highest one by default without overdrive is 4,000. And with overdrive activated, that is 8,000 points basically. So that basically means that if you want to achieve like the highest score, basically on like vocals though, then your only choice is to play expert. And there's also like no way that you're gonna get gold stars ever, basically on the song if you're playing hard, medium, or easy. 5 normal stars is the highest you can get. Basically, just because they really are encouraging you to score well enough on expert in order to basically get the gold stars. Like that's just mostly the point though. So that means even if you're playing like a full band, and if you really do not have everybody basically on like expert, then that will basically mean that you will not get 5 gold stars whatsoever, unless if the full band is absolutely on expert. Like for sure, you gotta absolutely try to make sure to do that, or you will not get it. Trust me. And then here is your overdrive phrases, which means it means in order to basically do an overdrive phrase, basically though, you got to make sure that it's the same length as the phrase marker. So that basically means if it's an entire measure long, for example, I'll show you really quick. Let's say that there is a vocal overdrive phrase. It's kind of like this. Let's say that you make a vocal phrase basically like this, and this is basically how you would want to set it up, which would be like the phrase marker. Basically, it's recommended to just have the phrase marker be at least 1 measure long if you're basically like making like vocal, if you're putting down vocal notes like this basically though. And unless if it's like really short, a really short vocal phrase, then maybe you might want to like consider like maybe doing this to be saying it to like half a measure. Like if you just have like one single phrase like this, like if it's a talkie for example, then you might want to really just get the phrase marker to be half a measure, And if you want that really short talkie to be an overdrive phrase, you have to make sure to put an overdrive marker over it, but make sure it's the same length as the phrase marker or it won't work. And then adding lyrics completely is basically like simple. You just double click basically in this window, and in order to basically set your lyrics basically into the song, before you do it, make sure that when you go into add text event, this window right here, before you can really type the text in, try to always change the type from text event to lyrics, because you really need it, because it has to absolutely be on lyrics if you basically are like working on vocal phrases of the song, because if the lyric to text are basically set to text event, it will then you will get an error basically from like Magma saying that the text that you basically wrote in the overdrive phrases is not right, and they're the wrong type completely. So it means it's gonna then tell you that it's a text event. But if you decide to leave it like that, if you do not set it to lyrics at all, so make sure that it's sent into lyrics first before you can before you really type in any lyrics whatsoever. So yeah, don't forget that. All right. Let's say that I want to make a lyric like this, like "oh!" exclamation mark, and if I click OK, you can now basically see there is a lyric right here. Let me boots up a bit. So you can basically see here is that let me get closer so you can see it. So you can basically see here is that this is basically a phrase that you might want to basically like. I mean, no, this is basically a lyric basically that you've typed in yourself, and then once you basically have it in there, you can like move it around to how you want. But the way that you want your lyrics to be set up is make sure that they are like right at the start of a vocal phrase, because then if they're like inside a vocal note anywhere else that is just out of place, whether if it's like inside it or outside it, then that's also another error that Magma might throw at you if you do not fix it. But then well, I'll talk about it in a minute. Now, if you're basically wondering, how do you be? Now, if you're basically wondering, remember that those other lyrics as well, where it just either basically had a clear blue area, but basically though on the solo vocals track, or whether it's not showing any like lyrics at all, or if it's basically just only showing the lyrics only, basically though. So that basically means that if the vocal cursor is going down to the lyrics basically only, if you're playing this on like Rock Band 1, Rock Band 2, or Lego Rock Band, it is basically that those are considered talkies. And how do you set those up? It's simple to figure out. All you have to do is basically just type in the lyric that is basically said in talkie. And in order to turn this from a normal note into a talkie, make sure to put a pound sign in it. So yeah, so basically the pound sign can basically be found by holding down shift, and then make sure to hit the 3 key, which has the pound sign symbol, which is the number sign, by the way. Like you need to basically have that. You need to you have to basically like make sure that the number sign is really is absolutely in that lyric, or it will not turn into a talkie at all. So then instead it'll just be a regular vocal note that they might not hit, basically though, and it might be too hard for them to hit, and you don't really want it like that. And the thing is, I need to tell you this really quick. do not try to make all of the lyrics into talkies, because then it will be too easy basically for anyone else to just basically do, and they're gonna get like bored of it. No matter if they basically like have like tried it on like on expert, and if it's just all to talkies all along basically though, and even if the vocal phrases basically sounded like that, it's just normal vocal notes, and if it's not even rapping or just all normal talkies all the time, or if it's just like death metal talk basically though, like unless if it's death metal talk or rapping basically though in the song, you really totally do not want to make every single vocal phrase talkies like all along, because like I said, they will not really like have fun with that, and it's gonna get boring basically though after a while though. So don't do that. Like, trust me, you really do not want to do that, because basically though, so instead, so the way that you're supposed to do it basically is make sure that you're using the chromatic tuner to basically to be able to hear that the pitch that the singer is basically doing, and then once you basically can keep hearing the same track over and over again, well, no, the same pitch on basically on a chromatic tuner over and over again, and until you have like memorized it though, then that's basically like the note that you should put it down as. It's kind of like so it basically means if you basically hear like pitches kind of like hold on, I need to turn this up a bit. So you can see so anyways, so it basically means if you basically hear like some pitches like that, as an example basically like that, then that's basically what you might need the chromatic tuner for. So I will definitely show an example of that. And before I basically get to it, like I said, the not display percussion is basically just only like percussion notes that only the vocal character inside of a only like actually I keep forgetting what I was gonna say. So basically the not displayed percussion notes are basically just animations basically for the vocalist just hitting the vocal notes basically on the beat. And displayed percussion is basically that is just display percussion notes that are basically showing basically inside a phrase. Make sure that the display percussion notes are inside a phrase as well, or it won't work. A phrase marker basically. But anyways, yeah. So that's basically like the mechanics basically of charting vocals basically though. So remember, so you just need to try to remember though. There's sometimes a pitch that's kind of always the highest. Which basically means that yeah, there's like a lot of like pitches that you need to do, but I'll show you. I'll definitely show you how to use a chromatic tuner for sure though, and I'll do that as a perfect example then for this song. Oh, hang on, I need to close this first. So the thing is, if you basically like look at basically at all of these like pitch notes but basically that I have set up for this Rock Band Network template, then I would also like recommend that you would also do the same thing for as well for the Rock Band C3 RB310 template basically. But the thing is, don't really try to basically but don't try to basically edit out that template at all, basically to look like that, and then just like share it basically to the community for them to use, because it's only recommended only for you to use, basically. So it means if you're gonna basically use it for your own sake, basically, make sure you're basically doing that, and make sure that you don't share that basically with anyone else, because they kind of might disagree with you completely on how anybody can use it, basically. Because then after all, it's not really necessary to basically be doing it, basically, since that there is like absolutely a like no row name that you can just go with. But yeah, so basically by default though, according to the chromatic tuner that I was always using for charting custom songs on vocals, which I'll show you in a minute. B5 is basically the highest pitch that you can get, probably, and C2 is basically the lowest pitch you can get. So it means for the C2, C3, C4, C5, and the B5 pitches should be labeled as what type of notes there are from the furthest or from the middle. So like the highest note is B5, the middle high note is C5, the middle note is C4, C3 is the middle low note, and C2 is the lowest note. So yeah, 2 is the lowest and 5 is the highest that you can get. I am not absolutely making this up. Like, for sure though, the chromatic tutor can absolutely say that it is like absolutely just 2, basically as the lowest, and B5 is basically the highest. I'm mostly saying, no guys, I'm not making this up. It's especially when if the C3 developers would hear this, basically, like, I'm absolutely saying, no, the chromatic tuner is not lying basically about it. 2, it did say that 2 is the lowest according to like some of them, and B5 is basically the highest, basically, though, like I absolutely said many times before in this video. But anyways, now that we have gotten that out of the way though, let's absolutely get to like finally just let's really like finally just get to really like doing the actual tutorial, which so that means now we're gonna absolutely be like doing the vocal phrase, basically. Also, now the first thing I would basically recommend is open up Google Chrome, basically, and I would mostly only recommend like opening up a tuner in Google Chrome, basically, but only if you're using the dark theme. If you're not using the dark theme on your computer, and if it's all just normal though, then it basically should be free to just use the chromatic tuner at all, basically on the internet or Google Chrome. It's your choice. But anyways, this is basically the chromatic tuner that I basically always use completely though, and it really is like absolutely like reading my voice signals. So you can basically see here when this chromatic tuner is basically moving, you could basically see like this. You can basically see like this line that is basically just going in different directions. So that basically means it's tracking my voice, basically. So it means if you try to sing basically on the audio that you're playing a loop audio on, basically, it should basically like make it easier for you to really keep track on like which pitches there are. So you could basically see is that 2 is basically the lowest. Like, I'll show you. If I go here, if I could try to get it to read it. It could sometimes like not read it like that well though. So the only way that you can only get it to track to really like to track the pitches really well is only if you sing basically sing the notes, basically though, and to like make sure that it's basically like that it's basically going and going from like the audio basically. So that's mostly the most recommended way that I would do it, like every time. Don't know why Reaper's always doing this, but anyway. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and open up the video window now, and then now we can get started with this. So what you're gonna basically like want to do is make sure that the video window that you're basically using is at least big enough for you to see it, so then you can see the vocal phrases. So first of all, let's find out where the vocals start. So the vocals start here, basically. So it basically means if I scroll through it, it starts right there at like this point. Now, here's another thing that you may need to know, basically, about charting vocals. If you do not have your grid set to 1/64th, make sure that you switch to that, because the way that the vocals are basically set up now, basically from instead of just the ways that you did basically for any other notes, basically, because there are like sometimes like vocal phrases that are basically like just short, and you probably might want to really just like try to basically like make basically, since it means if you want to get like perfect vocal phrases and to make sure that they are perfectly in sync, basically, without having like snap the grid disabled, basically, make sure to use 1/64th to 4th, because it will absolutely help you out. It will save you much time, basically, and it should absolutely like should absolutely just keep you glad completely over from unlike doing this, so then you're not stressed out about it. Now before we basically do this, let's first go all the way back here and then move these to be at where the vocal started. So if you see that the play text event in the part vocals track on the Rock Band 3, the C3 RB3 template, make sure you set the position first to where the vocals start. And then once you have basically set that, basically, then you should be able to do it. And also don't really worry about like about the lyrics, like about this lyric, the text event that is just right there. Like I only put it there basically, to just so then I don't have to absolutely like forget about changing the text event from changing like the text events to really be lit to set it to lyrics later. So yeah, just forget about it. All right. Anyways, let's set this to 11.1. So it pretty much said that where is it? The vocals basically start right there. So we're gonna like drag the lyric right there. Now just in case that if you are doing this song that doesn't exist basically in like Rock Band or Guitar Hero, then you might want to end up using the chromatic tuner and this website called genius.com, which is basically the website that you can basically search up lyrics for. And it's mostly recommended to like to sometimes do this, but because this website basically, genius.com basically has like lyrics basically of a song that basically has the section names that is just basically showing. So that basically means once you do that, basically, then you really should at least be able to really go for like. Then it'll make putting in the section names to be like much easier, but basically, just so then you don't have to basically like figure it out yourself though. but sometimes some songs you find basically on Genius.com sometimes do not have that have any section showing those. So it's sometimes up to you to really like figure out like what their name basically. You just have to basically remember. You just basically have to basically like try to memorize what a verse sounds like, what a chord sounds like, what a riff sounds like, and what an intro and a bridge and then a solo is like for sure. Like you really are gonna like want to try to basically find out what those are about. There's also pre-choruses as well, which is something that you may have to memorize as well, because there are like some songs that have pre-chorus as a section. So yeah. So anyways, if you are basically working on the song, like Reach for the Stars or Speak With Your Heart, basically from like that didn't exist in Guitar Hero or Rock Band, and if it's one of your, if it's like a favorite song basically from a different random game basically, then it's recommended to always be using the chromatic tuner, since then you can find out the correct pitches for the vocals track of the song, and make sure to use the lyrics on Genius.com, so then you could basically like find out the section names if there are any available. But like I said, if not, then you're gonna have to try to like try to like figure it out yourself, just by like listening to the audio basically in the track. And then once you have memorized how it sounded at least, it should make it easier for you. Anyways, let's basically get to this. So I'll basically like chart like one vocal phrase, but basically just for now, and then I'm gonna cut through the rest, just so that you'll basically see how it is to make a vocals chart of your own. So first of all, I'm gonna make sure to zoom in basically, so then it'll make it much easier to basically see any of the gaps basically that might be there. Now, as you could basically, you could basically see here is that the first phrase is "Hey pretty boy, it's time to wake up," which it's pretty fast too though. So listen to this really quick. You hear that? So what you gotta do there is make sure that you basically like memorize how the vocalist sang that phrase. So now what you're gonna want to do is once you basically have a scrub basically like showing up, like I'll show you really quick. I'll show you how to enable that really quick. So in order to enable scrub, go to options, go all the way down into preferences, and the first thing that I would recommend doing is in the audio section right here, go to the playback section and make sure to configure your Reaper to match the settings here. You could completely do it. What do I mean by configure Reaper? I meant like set up like much of the options that is available, that is basically on here to match the settings with it. And then what you're gonna want to do is you want to go to no, that's not it. Okay, right here. So in the editing behavior section, you want to go down to mouse modifiers, and the context that you want to look for is edit cursor handle, which is basically for the track. And it's recommended to set the default accent to scrub audio loop segment mode. So if you don't have that set up, just double click it, or you can basically just right click it. Okay, so no, right click it won't work. You have to double click it. So basically it'll be set to jog audio by default. So just in case then if it does basically though, if it is set to jog audio by default, but like this is basically what happens when you do jog audio. Or actually, so give me a minute, really quick. Let me show you what jog sounds like. Let me show you this. Okay, let me try this again. So basically, jog audio is, which that's basically something that you really don't want, basically, but because then it will like not help you figure out the pitches at all. So when you put this on scrub audio loop segment mode, and then when you either hit apply or OK, then you can see, then this is what it's supposed to sound like. So scrub audio can basically like play the audio over and over and over again, no matter where the curse handle is basically like scrolled to, and when you hold it down, it'll make the sound. So once you have that set up, like I said, just either hit apply or OK, and then once you're out of the settings, basically though, now you can basically start. So give me a minute here. Okay, never mind. All right. Anyways, let's really get to it now. So once you have all those settings basically set up though, so now you want to go ahead and start charting the vocals though. So I'm going to show you how to do that really quick as an example, just for one phrase. All right, and then I'll cut the rest out. Like I said, this is where the vocals start. So as long as you look at the lyrics here and like here, basically though, and like not on genius.com basically though, unless if you just want to like you use the lyrics from genius.com, it's up to you. So I'm gonna basically like tell you this really quick. So here's the example basically. So the first parts are "Hey Pretty Boy," like I'll show you this really quick. So the first one is. Well, that's gonna be like pretty hard to figure out though, because you might not really be able to hear it basically. So in case that if you can't really hear it though, either try turning up the audio basically though, or maybe you should try to at least like look for a vocals only track basically just for the song, which means that if there is a Get Ready to Rock vocals only on video basically, then you could basically just use that basically to make things easier. Like this. So it means once you have basically sung that note, then that basically means it's the correct one. So that basically means you would also have to like also trying to find out where that pitch is played. So once you figure that out, like watch, like this is how you do it. Now, in case you heard it, basically, Prit basically starts here. So I'm gonna go in and like put the B3. Put a B3 note there, and you can basically see is that this is basically what it does now. So it basically plays through that, which is basically like really cool thing though. And then when you do this one, So it's F sharp, as it said up here, and T starts right here. Now if I go further, right there, a pretty boy. Let me see if I'm right. Yep, it's E. It's E, absolutely. So you can basically like sing those pitches basically in your own octave. And what do I mean by own octave? Your own voice. So it basically means try to sing those same mid pitches basically with your own voice. You know, it doesn't matter how you do how you do it. You basically on your own octave. You just have to like make sure the pitch matches. And in case that if it doesn't, basically though, like let's say that you're only able to sing pitches that are in the 3 range, like. And in case that if you can't really sing that much higher, but then if it doesn't basically sound right, then the tip is try putting it on the same pitch but 1 range higher. Like let's say if it says G sharp, and if you put a G sharp right here basically though, but if it doesn't sound right, then you can just move it up to G sharp 4, and then it would make it, and then once you play through it, then it probably might sound right. So the thing is, try to absolutely be like looking around all the phrases, all of the phrases on the and make sure to recognize the pitches, so then you can basically like figure out how it's saying correctly. And then once you basically have like figured out, it'll make it really easy for you. So, anyways, like I said. Give me a minute. Okay, no. Okay, so boy is E. It's E4. Okay, so boy ends here. You hear that? It's correct. Pretty boy. See, that's basically like. So basically, that's basically how you basically do an actual vocal line, basically, that you can basically do. So just in case that if you're basically doing a song that basically existed basically in Rock Band basically though, then it's recommended to go to this website called Kawagi's Rock Band Vocal Charts. Which is basically like this website, which is rockband.yajags.com/voxdata/. So you can basically find that basically on the internet, basically though. So basically, just make sure that you basically like have the same address. I'll basically like. I'll have the website name basically on the screen basically for a little bit, and then make sure to pause right here if you like need the link. Take your time. Okay, enough time. All right, so but first of all, let me go close this ad because well, I'm not getting through that. All right. Anyways, now that it's basically out of the way though, in order to basically like select a song basically from Rock Band, the first thing that you want to do is either select the song that you're looking for. So the way to do that is, the first step is right here. Pick the first letter of the song you want to see, then pick the name of the song to see phrase by phrase lyrics, notes, and other optional information. So the one we're doing is Get Ready to Rock. So it's in the letter G section. And there's the song right here, Get Ready to Rock. Also, using this page is basically also optional, and for you to like basically like do the the phrases basically though. So anyways, if it basically is wrong, then that's basically easy to fix basically though. So I'll basically show you that really quick. But first of all, let me move this first. It's in the way though. Okay. Alright, and then go back to Reaper. Now, it basically said that the first one basically says A4 sharp. So that basically means it's doing this. It's this high. So that basically must mean the other ones are not right as well. A4 sharp is the lowest and F5 sharp is the highest. So we're gonna set it to that. Go up a bit. So B4, F5 sharp, and E5. Okay, well, the Fox data is kind of wrong, basically. I do believe that this is probably like not right though. So I would mostly assume that it's probably like A sharp 3, not the other one. So I think this guy might have did it wrong. So we're gonna do this instead to make it easier. Hey, pretty boy. So yeah, see, that's absolutely perfect though. Like that's basically the way it's supposed to do it, you know. So yeah, sometimes if the Vox data is basically sometimes wrong, basically though, then the chromatic tuner can be your choice. Basically, and then once you basically have played through it and figured it out right, it'll make it easier for you. And then the next line in this first vocal phrase is "It's time to wake up." It's time to wake up. So that's mostly the point though. Sing through that. So that's mostly the point of charting vocals though. Try to sing. Well, no, let me phrase that. Try to always sing through any like vocal phrases or any vocal lines, like basically though. So then it'll absolutely make it much easier for you to absolutely like figure out like how the vocal phrase is supposed to go. So basically, just keep memorizing it, keep singing through those vocal phrases, and then once they're all set up properly to match the vocal track, it should absolutely like be much easier for you to do. So here's something to know real quick. So in order to use the chromatic tuner, by the way, this is basically the website also that you should also go to as well though in order to use the chromatic tuner, the online metronome.com, which has the online instrument tuner, the chromatic tuner for every instrument. So it means when you use this tuner, you would never ever have to absolutely like purchase a chromatic tuner for yourself to use in Reaper. So that means if you don't want to go around wasting any more money for Reaper's sake, then the online instrument tuner / chromatic tuner for every instrument is the one for you. And you should absolutely trust this one because the tuner does properly work, and it does like track your voice, basically though, and even like the octaves you sing, basically though. And even like the octaves that you like try to match from a song that you're doing. So yeah, it's really easy, it's simple to use. But just in case that if it does not start moving, like whenever you get to this website, so let's say when you first go onto that website, you the first thing you're gonna know is that the chromatic tuner is not gonna like work right away. Like I'll show you really quick. So you basically see is that I refresh the page and the chromatic tuner is not moving basically at all. It's not recognizing my voice, making any sounds, and it's not recognizing either. So it's really easy to turn on. All you have to do is basically just if you're using a smaller window like this, then you can just click this button, which will show more options. and then select the tuner, and then when you select it, it turns it on. So what it does now is that you can now see it's now tracking like the sounds that there is in the background. So the thing is, make sure to absolutely you use your voice as you can. Basically, it's really recommended. Or if you're using like a full window though, then the tuner button really should show up right here, to the top right. If you're using like a maximized window, basically, but it's recommended to just you use it like this, basically, just so then you don't have to like absolutely like be like holding a chromatic to tuner all the time in order to like find out the pitches at all. So basically, show this really quick. So It's Time to Wake Up is the next one. So and I'm gonna go ahead and just like basically do this then, just for now. So It's Time to Wake Up is 3 B's, a C sharp, and a B. But since that Vox Data, the Vox Data website got it wrong, basically though, I really think it's just B3 and C sharp 4. So you can see, so you can basically see here is that I'm scrolling through the video window, and I'm placing the notes to be on the exact correct spots to where they should go. And just like you basically did on guitar and bass, make sure to also extend those vocal notes as well, so then you can be saying through it. Alright, so do that. And then C sharp is next. Like, I'll show you that really quick. So with this chromatic tuner online, wait for it. It says B. That's the correct one. And then or even if you do see, like even if you're using like a male a manly voice, basically, then it'll still track the same pitch, basically. Like I said, it does not matter which type of octave you use, whether if it's like a high voice octave or a manly octave or a female octave, then it's up to you. Like, it's really like up to you, like how you want to do it. Well, sometimes there aren't most of them that are correct, basically. Oops, that's not it. Yeah, see, I even did C sharp as well in that octave, in a manly octave as well, which you might need to figure out. And then up is I think it's B. I think it's like B4 again. Let me see. Yep, B. So let's go right here. So right there, and now you can basically see this is now the notes for a phrase. So let's see that really quick. See, look at that. That is a vocal phrase, basically. Now the next thing that I would recommend doing is set up your phrase marker to go over the vocal phrase that you've created. Now, the beginning of the phrase marker. So the phrase marker has to basically start at basically at the first syllable basically of the it has to basically begin with the first syllable or first lyric basically, in each phrase, but basically so then you can make sure that it's right. So it means if there's like so that basically means if the start of phrases have a capital letter basically, then that's absolutely like how it's supposed to be set up. So hey pretty boy, it's time to wake up is basically inside one phrase marker, and then the next one is gonna be with another capitalized letter basically. So that's mostly something that you're gonna like want to like try to basically have set it up to. And the vocal phrases basically should basically end at the last syllable or the last lyric in one phrase. So it means you could just either have it end like here, for example, or you could just have it end at measure 13. I'm just gonna basically like do it right here, basically just because when I'm like looking at this line, basically, which you could basically see this line right here. I'll zoom in so you can get a closer look. So you could see if you see like this line right here, basically, this vertical line, basically, then that basically means that it is its own cut, basically. So that basically means it'll basically end that phrase that you were doing. Okay, so that basically means when you set up the phrase marker, then it should be set up the same way, except that you can set up the beginning of a phrase to however you like it, or if you basically just want to use the phrase markers from the Score Hero image, basically, then yeah, you can basically use that. So when you're on the Score Hero website on that song, just click vocals. Doesn't matter which difficulty you click on for vocals, it'll still be the same. Ignore that, and then click the link. And then you can basically like now see is that this is basically like where the vocals start, where the first vocal phrase starts, which is basically like right at this point of the measure though, which I wouldn't really recommend trying to follow at all. So the thing is, don't try to basically like listen to that, basically, unless you really want to like match it up, basically, it's up to you. It's really up to you on like how you want to set up the beginning of the vocal note. Like it really doesn't matter though. It's really up to you to how you want the beginning of the phrases to be set up to. Like basically, just make sure that all the lyrics, no, all the vocal notes that have the lyrics in it are inside the phrase, or it won't work. Like for sure, make sure that there aren't any like vocal notes outside overdrive phrases, because then like nobody would be able to like score points on singing those vocal notes if there are no phrase markers at all. So you can basically see here is that this is like this little circle basically right here is basically your it's basically your streak meter, basically. So yeah, that little circle basically that is just below the line will basically like measure how well you're singing. Completely. So it means whenever you sing a vocal note correctly, it'll start to fill up, and then if you fill the circle all the way, then then you will get a rating that'll basically say awesome or perfect if you're playing like a rock band. Which will basically rate you on like how well you sang the phrase. So if you score enough awesome ratings or perfect ratings, basically, no matter if you're playing like a rock band or Rock Band 2 or any other rock band game that basically has the awesome rating on there. So it means whenever it does that. Now when you get the highest rating basically on vocals though, which means if you did basically just sing like the phrase basically like really well though, you'll start a streak, like basically, and you will get a multiplier from the up to times 2, times 3, and then times 4, which is the highest. And if you don't fill it up all the way, it'll go all the way down to times 1. So be careful. And it's been like 1 hour already in this part. Anyway, one more thing I'm gonna show off really quick. So just in case that if you are setting your lyrics basically to be properly set, then okay, hang on. So anyways, just in case that if you really are like are like not really wanting to just basically like set up some phrases basically then that's basically something you could figure out. Actually, I don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, if you don't really feel like manually just moving the lyrics basically to the vocal notes, there is basically a shortcut that can do that, which I'll show you in a minute. So put prit dash, since pretty has 2 syllables. So sometimes there are also other lyrics basically that have like vocal notes that are syllables basically. Like pretty is 2 syllables. Or medium is 3 syllables. And yeah, so and then like boy is basically like 1 syllable basically. So the way that you're supposed to set up syllables in the song is that you have to do prit dash and then put the other one as not that. And then put the other syllable without a dash, basically. So prit dash, and then have the other one be T. But like I said, make sure the text type is lyrics, or the shortcut will not work. Hey pretty boy, and then the other one is it's time to wake up. But this time the it's time to wake up sentence is not capitalized, so it means it's still in the first phrase. It's time to, don't know why I just keep like rotating the laptop for some reason, wake, and then here is up. Now, once you basically have your lyrics basically all set up, there should basically be a shortcut to align the lyrics with align the lyric events with notes. Align lyric events with notes. I've set mine to enter, and I would also recommend that you would also do the same thing as well to save time. So make sure. So if you don't have the lyrics selected, basically, then you can just basically right click the drag. You can drag these. You could basically like drag the selection just by right clicking it and then moving your cursor. And then once they're all selected, just hit the shortcut key to align the other lyric events with notes. Mine is enter, so if I hit enter, and now you can basically see is that now the lyrics are lined up to the notes and they are being played properly. So anyways, once you have that, you have a vocal that is a proper vocal phrase. Alright, so I'll play through that again, this time singing through that, so then you can see what I mean. Hey, pretty boy, it's time to wake up. See? That's absolutely what I mean, though. Now, there's one other thing that you might want to basically know about. Sometimes there are other vocal for phrases that basically use slides basically, and if you're wondering basically how you do that basically though, which one should I do? let's do even rats. Like that one's a good example. Yeah, so leave the file offline. I don't really care about it. Okay, now let's say in the part vocals track of this song, you can see is that I have the ooh lyrics basically though of the song, but to be set to have slides, and the way that you're supposed to do that is just set up the lines to be. So all you gotta do is basically set up these lyric notes to be one pitch, and then set the next one to be at a different one, basically, in order to make it a slide. So it means the ooh lyrics, basically though, in the even rat song is basically something like this. Hold on, let me turn this up. If it would just like behave and just turn it up. There we go. Now here's an example. So you can basically see here is that it is basically doing these vocal phrases basically just by singing like the same lyric, but changing pitches while it's singing the same lyric. So in order to set up slides, like I said, make sure that you set one pitch and then set the next pitch to be different, and then put the first lyric in the first pitch of the slide, and then on the next pitch of the slide put in a plus lyric on that, because then if you don't do that, then it will not really be a slide at all, and even if you don't have any lyrics basically on that pitch, it won't work. So if you got like a plus lyric to the beginning of the second pitch, then the end of the first pitch should connect from there to there, basically. So it means if you do see that basically in a rap-band game though, then that's what it will look like whenever you're basically like playing the vocals to a track on the track basically in the song. So yeah, it's basically simple to figure out. So like I said, in order to figure out the slides, again, just make sure that you're using the chromatic tuner to find out the pitches, and make sure that you're just singing the notes correctly, and so then you'll be able to find out. So yeah, it's really easy to figure out. You figure out basically though. You just have to like try to basically sing those phrases in your own octave, and then try to make sure the pitches are right. So then you should be able to have a proper vocals chart. So yeah, simple, right? Well, it's kind of it's really complicated, basically at first, basically, but once you once you basically get the pitch down, and if you have gotten the hang of like singing this, and once you get used to using the chromatic tuner, it should be pretty easy for you to figure out. Now if you cannot absolutely find the video of the lyrics, then like I said, just go to genius.com and then like figure that out. Or maybe you would want to do a song that you really might want to basically figure out the lyrics to, but if it's not showing up basically on YouTube or basically on like anything else, basically, then the best thing that you can just basically do is basically, if you do find any lyrics from a YouTube video that was put in the comment section and not in the description down below, then the recommended thing to do is copy the text copy the text, basically of the lyrics, and then put them into a text file with your notepad. It's really that's also another reason why I would also recommend having that as well, so that it'll be safer. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Hold on, unpin and remove. Okay. So here's an example. Basically, this is basically going to be a song that I am going to be working on later, and this is basically the Timmy versus Lassie in the Octagon lyrics. It's and it's made by Bow Alaska. So if you really remember like that song with those guys like not being popular, basically. Now if you basically do see basically any of these like section names, ignore it. Basically, since those really like don't exist completely on the internet, and there's really like no way for you to find them completely like that much, just because it doesn't really exist basically on the internet. And I did find the lyrics basically but before from a YouTube video, and it was like absolutely just and this time I only changed it up basically a bit, so then it would feel like that it's matching the lead vocals of the song. So yeah, basically figuring out that the lyrics were lyrics and then figuring out like how they go, it can be difficult to figure out at first, but like I said, for sure, once you get the hang, once you absolutely get that down, then it should be easier for you to figure this out. So then you don't have to absolutely like worry about like messing up basically at some point, or and you don't even have to basically like worry completely about like not really just like being able to figure out how to properly chart the vocals chart, and it's not going to really make you hate your life basically though from doing it. Trust me, like, because you can become really good basically from like doing that, but you cannot really always become like that good if you're like not even trying. Trust me. Anyways, now that I have absolutely explained the basics basically of the vocals, like I bet you, I really bet that you guys have like finally figured out basically from how I explained it, right? Even though I was only slowing down a little bit on the speaking basically, just because I got bad charisma whatsoever. Then yeah, it should absolutely be like really easy to figure out. So just remember, just make sure to remember, in order to be able to listen to the scrub audio, make sure that you set it up in the options like I showed you, and then make sure that you drag the cursor in order to basically play any of the loops, to play a loop basically of the audio, since then you can basically hear the pitches without having to like scroll through that back and forth like too quick. So as long as you basically just keep up playing like that loop of audio, it should make it easier for you to like figure out that pitch once you basically sing that note. For all the other ones, same thing though. You just have to match it. So like I said, it's complicated at first, but once you get used to it, you'll get it down. All right. Anyways, also there's also like one more thing I want to basically mention though. I should have basically mentioned this like back in like part 3 basically though. You can basically extend or shorten the tracks basically though to be like at least to be like short enough basically though. So then you know it'll at least make things easier basically though to basically do this. And but however, you really do not want to set it up to really basically be like this, because then it's going to be too short. Because then it's just going to be like too short to just basically go through it, and it will like not end the song properly. So the good thing is that it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter that if what is it? It doesn't really matter that if the mini tracks are like really long, but it is bad if they are too short. So it means if they are basically too short, though, it'll just end at an earlier point, which is something which it might end at the wrong time. So it means if you accidentally have it end basically during the song, even when it's like not over yet, even when it's like almost over, and if it doesn't even if it doesn't even play through the ending of the song, though, it will like not end properly like it's supposed to, though. So make sure that you do not make it too short. I mean, you can make it as long as you want, but try not to really make it too short, or it will like not work right. All right. All right. Anyways, now I'm gonna absolutely get through this for sure. And this is what a vocal phrase looks like zoomed out, by the way. So that's why it's mostly recommended to just like zoom in really close. So then you'll get like an easier of a process of like how it's supposed to work. So as for the rest of the vocals, basically, though, then it should be still be easier for you to figure out. Since I even like showed you like how to basically chart the slides, basically, though, from the even rats phrases like I showed you. Probably at like basically on like the quiet parts of the song, basically, though, it should absolutely make it easier for you to basically figure out basically the size. Like I said, all you just need to do is just set one pitch first, and then make sure that you set up different pitches that are basically like that are using this that are basically just using the same notes, and then it'll connect. So like I said, set up the first pitch and then set up the other ones to be different, and then make sure once you have set up the slides basically of the vocal notes, you just have to like make sure to put the lyric in the first pitch, and make sure and then for the further pitches basically of that same lyric, though, make sure that you put the plus in those different pitches, so then you can turn it into a slide like I basically showed you in the Even Rat song in the video. So yeah, you got all that? If you did, good. Alright, anyways, I will definitely cut through and just like finish up the vocals, because it's gonna really take like such a long time, and I just gotta like make sure to like get it out of the way, like for sure. So I'll definitely see you, well, maybe for a couple of hours. I don't know. I think it is probably like some hours to finish this up. Anyway, yeah, I'll see you then. All right, so basically after like a couple of hours later, I finally finished up the vocals track now. So I'm gonna turn the volume up a bit, so then you could just hear the part vocals track to get ready to rock. So yeah, I did use a lot of this info, but I have basically found out is that it's pretty much wrong, basically, though. Is that, yeah, it's supposed to be like, scroll up a bit. So yeah, so the range is supposed to be like A3 sharp to F4 sharp. Like, this one's totally wrong, basically, though. Like, the guy didn't do it right, so. But yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so anyways, I'm gonna zoom in basically though, so you can see the other stuff. So now here's the track. So first of all, let's go ahead and just go into full screen first so you can see it. Okay, so here's the track. So you can see here, I matched up. I tried my best to match up the notes. So that was the vocals track for Get Ready to Rock. Now, if you have not noticed though, I did put in some animation to text events, like the play text basically in the brackets is a text event. So that means if you're gonna put animation markers like this basically though, whether if it's like play, idle, mellow, intense, idle, real time basically, make sure that they're inside brackets basically though, like this, so basically any of these brackets basically right here, so yeah, if you see brackets like this basically though next to that is basically behind or in front of the text, then yeah, make sure that the text you're basically using is in there, like for sure. Make sure that it's inside brackets, and then make sure to set the text type to text event, and don't try to set it to lyrics because it won't work. Like it really will not work completely though if it has not been absolutely changed the text event at all. So basically for the lyrics basically just make sure that the text type for that is set to lyrics, and for the animation markers just make sure it's labeled as a text event. So remember set the type to text event for the animation markers, and then make sure the lyrics are basically like set the text type to lyrics. So basically, just follow along. Just try and basically like you use the guidelines basically, so then you'll be able to like tell like more easily where it can be planted. So remember, whenever the idle whenever the play text event plays, basically, then yeah, your vocalist will basically like start dancing around, basically, like normally, and then when it passes through an idle animation marker, then it'll basically like stop singing it, basically it'll stop doing the singing animation, but it will still just sync up to the beat, which means basically just means handbagging a little bit basically to the beat. And it's only recommended to just put play behind the vocal phrases, and then put the idle to text event in front of it, in case that if there's like seconds of like no phrases, well, a little more than that. So make sure. So anyways, that is basically like the basis of vocals, but I will be showing like one more good clip, basically the vocals though. All right, there's really like one extra thing I'm going to basically show you before I end part 7, and it is basically going to be doing the percussion solos. So I will absolutely be putting that in there, and then yeah, I'll basically like show you basically how to do it. The way that you're supposed to be setting up vocal percussion solos is make sure that there is a phrase marker first. That is basically like at least on like the measures too. It's recommended to basically do vocal percussion solos in case that if you're on a boring part of the song, or if there's basically a solo playing. So that basically means when you do that though, then it'll absolutely make things more interesting, and it's also recommended to really do as well if you want to score extra points as well though. So the way I'm gonna basically set this up is put the oh my god, I'm going to put in the displayed percussion notes inside it. So then whenever you're playing on vocals, and then whenever you reach this phrase marker, the vocal percussion notes will absolutely show up no matter what. So I'm gonna put a whole measure of vocal percussion notes, and then make sure to copy those in. Copy those and then paste them to every measure by measure. So just keep doing that. And there. So I got my vocal percussion solo basically set up. So now whenever you play through it, and then when the solo ends, that's when the vocal percussion I set up is also ending as well. Like basically though.